Here we are asked to figure out after how many seconds does a ball reach the maximum height when the ball is being thrown upwards from a building that's 100 feet tall. The S of t function they give us here is measured in feet and t is in seconds. So the first thing I want you to notice is that this is a quadratic function, and a quadratic function always has the shape of a parabola. And the second thing I want you to notice is that our leading coefficient here for our quadratic is negative. That means that our parabola is going to open downwards. And the maximum height in this case, is going to be found for that parabola at the top, and specifically that is going to be where our vertex is. So really, when they're asking us to find after how many seconds does the ball reach the maximum height, they're really asking us to find the vertex. So let me clear all this stuff off and look for the vertex. Okay, the formula that they gave us in the textbook is this. The formula for the vertex is negative b over 2a for the x value of the vertex, and f, or I guess in this case s, of negative b over 2a. This is our formula for the vertex. So the first thing we need to figure out is what time value do we get time equal to negative b over 2a. Now the a, b, and c are just like the a, b, and c like we use in the quadratic formula. So in this case, a is negative 16, so in our denominator we have 2 times negative 16, and b is 128. Okay, so let's see, we're going to get a negative divided by negative will give us positive 128 divided by 32, which is 4. Okay, so in this problem, the vertex x value is 4. Now we just need to figure out what the y value is to get the full vertex. So s of negative b over 2a for the y-coordinate is, in this case, s of 4. And really all that means to do is plug in x equals 4, or I guess in this case t equals 4, into our height function. So that will be negative 16 times 4 squared plus 128 times 4 plus 100. And let's see, that's negative 16 times 16 plus 128 times 4 plus 100. All right, and getting out our calculators, it gives us negative 16 times negative 16 is times 16 is negative 256. 128 times 4 is 512, and then plus 100. So let's see, this is going to be 356. Okay, so let's take this value. This is our y-coordinate for the vertex, 356. Okay, all right, let's go to the next page and sort of analyze this a little bit. So we have the vertex 4 and 3, 6. And what that means is after 4 seconds, we've reached our maximum height, and that is 356 feet. Okay, and there's the end of part A. Now, I think the next part of this problem asks us to figure out in part B, after how many seconds does the ball hit the ground? Okay. Well, remember, if the ball is hitting the ground, if it's hitting the ground, that means that its height, in this case s, is equal to 0. Well, that means that our function, negative 16t squared plus 128t plus 100 must be equal to 0. Now, we can start factoring this and see how far we get. I don't think this is going to factor. The best that we could do is divide both sides of this equation by 2 to give us 0 equals negative, ooh, divide by 2, 8t squared plus, let's see, 64t plus 50. Oh, you know what? We should have divided by 4. Let's divide by a second 2 here. Negative 4t squared plus 32t plus 25. Okay, I like to use as small numbers as possible, so I like dividing out any of our greatest common factors that are constants before we get started. Now, I don't think that this guy factors to solve for t, but even if it did, it looks like it would be kind of a nasty factoring. So if the function doesn't factor, then we need to resort to the quadratic formula. Okay, so let's start using the quadratic formula to solve our equation here. So we've got t is equal to negative, okay, let's try that again. T is equal to the fraction. Negative b would be negative 32. My pen does not want to write right now. Negative 32 plus or minus the square root of 32 squared, or b squared, minus 4ac, oh, I forgot, I have negative 4 there, minus 4 times negative 4, c is 25, all over 2a is 2 times negative 4. Okay, let's clean this up a bit. So this gives us negative 32 plus or minus the square root of, see, 32 squared is 1024. And a negative 4 and a negative 4 is positive 16. And 16 times 25 is 400. All over negative 8. Okay, now let's keep simplifying inside that square root. So we've got t is equal to negative 32 plus or minus the square root of 1424 over negative 8. Okay, so this gives us two answers. We've got t equals negative 32 plus the square root. Oh, you know what? Let's go to our calculators. That square root is approximately 37.736. So let's change it to that. So we've got negative 32 plus 37.736 over negative 8. And we have t is equal to negative 32 minus 37.736, all over negative 8. Okay, so when we do negative 32 plus 37.736, we get 5.736 over negative 8. But this is a problem. This is going to give us negative 0.7 approximately, 0.72 approximately. We're talking about time here, and in this case it doesn't make any sense for us to have negative time. So we're going to discard that answer. However, when we do the other one, negative 32 minus 37.736, we get negative, a negative number divided by negative 8, and this works out to be positive, well, first it works out to be negative 69.736 over negative 8. And when we divide those two negative numbers, we get positive 8.717, or about 8.72 seconds. Okay, so by setting our height function equal to 0, that's saying it hits the ground, and using the quadratic formula, we just figured out the time that it hits the ground. The last thing that our problem asks us to do here, part C, asks us to find and interpret what S of 0 means. Well, remember, the variable that was inside our function was time. So this means that time is equal to 0 seconds. Well, if 0 seconds has elapsed since we've thrown the ball, that means that S of 0 is going to give us the height right at the instant when the ball is thrown. So what we need to do is just calculate that now. S of 0, let me take one step back. This was S of t, if we have forgotten, is negative 4t squared plus 32t plus 25 after doing some reducing, although we can certainly use the negative 16t squared and so on if we wanted to. Since we divided this one by 4 at the beginning, though, we're going to need to go back and multiply everything by 4 to get the correct height. So this was S of t equals negative 16t squared plus 128t plus 100. All right, last thing to do, plug in S of 0. That's negative 16 times 0 squared plus 128 times 0 plus 100. This is 0. This times 128 times 0 is also 0. So we have S of 0 equals 100. And remember, this means that when the ball was thrown, at the instant the ball was thrown, at time equals 0 seconds, at time equals 0 seconds, doesn't want to write seconds for me. There we go. At time equals 0 seconds, we have a height of 100 feet.